Hi folks, this is Jason. Hope you're okay today. It's good to see you. I just want to share with you something, and then I've got something very serious to announce, perhaps the most serious thing I've ever said on YouTube. I just want to play you this clip.
Can Christian employees be forbidden from wearing crosses at work? The British government says yes, and it passed a law allowing just that. But Christians say not so fast, and they're taking their case to the European Court of Human Rights. Peter Wooding explains.
Each day, nurse Shirley Chaplin wears this cross around her neck as a symbolic reminder of her Christian faith.
When I was confirmed, I put my crucifix on. To me, it's almost sort of symbolic, like a wedding band. I made the vows to be a Christian when I was 16, 17, and I've never taken it off from that day.
But if the British government has its way, she'll lose her right to wear her cross to work. Later this year, the government will argue before the European Court of Human Rights that employers have the right to ban their employees from wearing their cross and fire them if they insist on doing so. CBN News has been...
Basically, 4 Christians today have been given their verdicts concerning their human rights. 3 of those Christians didn't win their case, and 1 of them did. But it made a strong message that Christian rights are not valued in Britain anymore. Also, with the development and growth of gay rights, both in America and in the UK, Christian human rights are being trampled under. Those who are Christians, if you have a bed and breakfast and you refuse a gay couple to stay, or if you're a pastor and you refuse to marry a gay couple, you could be put in court and threatened with prosecution. Both governments in America and in the UK give us these solemn promises that this will not be the case, but their promises are very hollow. Already there are legal problems with Christian human rights and gay human rights, both in America and in the UK. But there has been a worrying trend both in America and in the UK where the governments are basically not listening to the vast majority of law-abiding Christians and are basically systematically taking those rights away. This is a very serious development for our Western democracies, because the whole foundation of human rights was based on Judeo-Christianity. With Western governments clearly pushing this aside and choosing their own agendas, they are storing themselves up for moral and political collapse. Also, silencing a vast majority of Christians the way they are doing is storing up resentment and social disillusion amongst a very important people that can help to prop up and stabilize Western democracies. In short, what Western governments are doing at this present time is systematically dismantling the Christian witness while clearly jettisoning the Judeo-Christian heritage. And what this is leading to is a new totalitarianism. Okay, it might be said that gay rights people are going to have their rights, but at the same time they are a small minority, and you're taking away the majority's people's rights, and you don't have to do that, but you should respect their rights, especially in the area of free speech. In the time of Hitler, there was a group of students called the Wise Rose movement or group, and they systematically opposed the Nazi regime. They were a group of intellectuals who stood for freedom. I am going to go down to London at some stage later this year to preach at Speaker's Corner, and when I do that I'm going to visit Parliament, and I'm going to take a bunch of white roses with me, And I'm going to deliver that bunch of roses to Parliament, and I'm going to send a rose to each of the major editors in this country. And I'm also going to send a white rose to the President of the United States, to tell you and to warn you that you are clearly moved away from the Judeo-Christian position, and that you are in danger of moving into a new totalitarianism, and that you are systematically dismantling Christian rights, and you are dangerously leaving yourself open as Western democracies to moral and political collapse, and you need to urgently turn away from this. That's all I have to say, is I'm just warning you, Prime Minister, and I'm warning you, Mr. President, that you don't realise it, but you've declared war on Christianity. And in the spirit of the White Rose Group, and in the spirit of Martin Luther King, we have to oppose you with love, with respect, but we have to draw a line in the sand and say enough's enough. You have squandered our Judeo-Christian heritage in our Western democracies, and you are destroying our Western democracies, and it's now the blind leading the blind. And if you're in politics today, if you are a playwright, a film writer, an intellectual, if you're in a workplace or wherever, all of us now need to gather round and start a new movement of Christian rights, civil rights movement around the world today, and start to stand up for real democracy, and start to stand up for Christianity in our Western democracies, because if we don't, then these democracies will collapse. So, let the battle begin, Mr. President and Prime Minister. I will be on a peaceful march someday this year to Parliament to deliver a bunch of white roses to you, Mr. Cameron. And I hope when I do that, you will have a representative there to collect the roses and accept the challenge that you are moving away from Judeo-Christian principles and you are leading us into a new dark age. Thank you for listening, and take care.